Hey Mason Nation, I'm Rayven Laing, and I'm here with the producer and director of Through the Lens. Hi guys, nice to meet you. This is Deborah Willis, the producer, and Thomas Harris, the director. So just a couple questions about the documentary, if you guys don't mind. So what inspired you guys to create this documentary?
It was inspired by a book that I wrote entitled Reflections in Black, A History of Black Photographers from 1840 to the Present. I started my research here for the book in, in 1995 here at George Mason University. I initially started my research as an undergraduate student at the Philadelphia College of Art in the 70s, and because I was looking for a broader history of photographic history, looking for black photographers. I met Thomas Allen Harris sometime in the late 80s and asked him if he would work with me in the year 2006 in creating this project because it was such an important story that gave a broader history, a visual history of African American culture.
Yeah, and I was honored, to work with Deb. And the book is an amazing, groundbreaking book, Reflections in Black. And I was also honored to be in the book. Deb had selected some images a collaboration I did with my brother, Lyle Ashton Harris, in the book. And so it took us a number of years to figure out how to turn this groundbreaking book into a movie, into a documentary. And so one of the things I was interested in doing is to also like highlight the amazing archives that Deborah had found and cataloged and framed, and also to bring in images that were dominant images of African Americans at the time these particular photographers were working. So we have a sense of, this kind of like a war of images that's happening. And so it occurred to me to frame it in a kind of family album um, narrative, so that there's a war of images within the American family album.
What message would you like this documentary to give not only to the GMU community, but to anybody who sees the documentary?
There are multiple messages, and one is to be able to look at photography and images as visual literacy, to be able to read images, the multiplicity of what's going on in the world based on how images are consumed. And that's something that we need to be wary and concerned about, how we as consumer of images are referring to images as real, but also that they are also ways of reading images that we need to be cautioned about, ways of reading the black body in the world as well as within our own communities.
Yeah, and I would add that the we have the images that we inherit in our families have a certain value, that they talk about history in a really important way. For instance, the Great Migration, how many of our families moved from south to the north, that they were actually making history, and when they took photographs of themselves before they left, or in the process, or after they come back to send back, that these images have value and historical value beyond the personal value that we know they have. And that we think about our family photographs and our family albums in ways that allow us to be creative with them. um, I think that's really important, because if you don't use something, you kind of lose it. And so often, when we've interviewed people about their family photographs, people throw them away. They don't think they have any importance. And the same is true in terms of, the thousands of images on our phones. And, what do we think about those images? How do we keep them? What is the value of these images? How do they connect us with other people, both Americans and internationally? And we are, in essence, when we take a photograph, we're creating history. Just as much as when we take an action, we're creating history.
And just lastly, Deborah, if you mind answering, how does it feel to have your documentary here at George Mason as an alumna?
I am excited about being here on campus. It means a lot. I recall the days of studying here and spending time in the Robeson Center. Really, just an opportunity to share my work with the students and to know, to also offer the opportunity that one day your work will also be a part of the canon and a part of the larger communities that we are hoping to introduce to our own individual work. So it's kind of reflective in that way. So it's really exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, as part of the outreach for the project, we created a project called Digital Diaspora Family Reunion, One World, One Family. So we're encouraging people to go to our website. It's number one world, number one family.me, and you could upload your photographs, and you could also tag the campaign on Twitter and Instagram, and so join the family album.
For MC News, I'm Rayven Laing, and don't forget to come to JC Cinema at 4:30 to view Through a Lens Darkly.